Welcome to Evolution Revolution. My name is Susan Allan, and I am really thrilled to have you with us today. As you know, if you've watched the show before, if you've seen me on TV in Santa Barbara before, you know that everything for me is about a life of peace and joy and personal transformation. And I know that you feel the same way. You want to have ease in your life. You want to have health in your life. You want to have abundance. You want to have friends and family, and you want everything to go smoothly, right? So every time we do a show, it is to bring you a new modality, a group of people or an individual who I've met who is doing something that's unique and that truly works. And thank you so much for all of you who keep watching the show and telling us how much you enjoy it. So today I am especially thrilled because today we have the team from the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, which is led by my friend Kathleen Mickey, who is the director. So let me tell you about Katie. I'm so thrilled, incidentally, to have all three of you. It's just wonderful. So Katie, who is the director of the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, has for over the past 25 years, she's trained over 3,000 students in massage, bodywork, and holistic health. And her students have provided massage for over 12,000 clients in their student clinic. And her graduates, including one who's here today, are gainfully employed throughout the tri-state area in all the major spas, physical therapy offices, corporate massage venues, and various private practices. And I know this because I've met a lot of them in my travels in Santa Barbara for all these years. And the reputation of the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute is spectacular. It has an absolutely wonderful, wonderful reputation, and that is because of Katie. I know that. So today I also want to welcome two people who have studied there. And the first one is Angelina Clark, who's sitting next to me. And Angelina is a graduate of the Santa Barbara Institute's 550-hour massage therapy program. And she currently works at a place, if you're in Santa Barbara, you have to go to the Salt Caves. It's called Salt, and it's on State Street in Santa Barbara, and it is incredible. You have to go. It is a destination. If you're watching the show and you're not in Santa Barbara, jump in the car and drive here, because it is amazing. It is legitimately a salt cave with salt crystals all over the ceiling. And make sure, obviously, you book an appointment with Angelina, who you'll meet in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And Bruno is still studying at the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute. Bruno Trevis, who's on my right, is in the Institute's 1,000-hour holistic health practitioner program, and you're going to become a certified foundation instructor.
I am.
Did I get that right?
I am certified.
You are certified. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
That's wonderful. Okay, so that is our group today, and I am sure you are going to be fascinated by things you learn, and I know I'm going to be learning things that I don't know, even though I've known Katie for quite some time. So tell us the mission of the Institute, please, Katie.
At the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, we empower people through the practice of transformational bodywork. We provide vocational training, we provide health enhancement courses, and we have a clinic available to the community where you can receive affordable bodywork. Our motto is, where lives change. And that is directly reflected in the quality of experience that our students and our clients have within their bodies, within their minds. And as they consistently receive the bodywork and do the practices, it ripples out into their lives, and their lives literally change.
Don't you just feel more relaxed just listening to Katie talk? You know, to me that was a beautiful demonstration of mindfulness, and I'm so grateful for that. So I know there are a lot of unique components to your curriculum. I mean, basically, the Institute is totally different from any other massage school, any place in the world I've ever heard about. But if you would explain a little bit about the unique components.
We begin with the premise that we have a miracle body that is capable of self-healing, and that residing within our miracle body is our inner healer, or the divine presence. And this divine presence understands exactly what our bodies need to heal and regenerate. Our job as educators and as body workers is to create a connection between the physical body and our inner healer. And we do this through freeing up the resistance that resides in the tissues and opening the body to receive more life force, more energy flow, and more self-awareness.
And actually, the mission is, of course, a mission that many, many schools would love to have, and just because they don't have certain components, it just isn't possible. But it's more than that. I know it's the way that you motivate and inspire every one of your students and every one of your teachers. So would you speak about that, please?
Well, the motivation and inspiration comes from a direct experience. What we do is we give people a direct experience of enlivening their body with more energy and more vitality. Every class begins with 3 hours of self-care practices, and then information, education about the holistic principles of how the body functions and how to enhance its function. And so we're working on ourselves throughout the class. We do something called the essential methods, which is a combination of gentle movement, massage, deep breathing, and deep relaxation. And then we form circle, and we share in a place of empathic listening, where people share from the heart, and they share what's alive in them and what they're experiencing within their bodies and within their hearts.
And if you would tell us a few of the unique aspects of the training itself, that would be, I think, really interesting to everybody.
Okay. So we're interested in enlivening the body. So we begin with the breath. The breath is a powerful, potent way to bring more energy into the body and to wake it up. So I'm going to demonstrate with Bruna some simple techniques that can be done to activate the diaphragm. We want to open the diaphragm up so that we take a deeper, fuller breath. I'm working with some points within reflexology on the hands, and I'm reflexing this line right here that's called the diaphragm line. And as I do that, Bruno spontaneously begins to breathe more fully and more deeply. And then we bring our awareness to simply the muscles that are involved in breathing. There's the diaphragm muscle that separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity, and then the intercostal muscles here on the side that can engage and cause the ribs to expand laterally. So as Bruno starts to take a fuller, deeper breath, he starts to feel more energy in his body. And then we shift from that to doing some energy exercises and some movements that involve intention and involve very gentle movement. So Bruno is now going to begin cultivating and circulating energy through his body with his intention. He's drawing in energy. This is universal energy, and allowing that to circulate through what we call the microcosmic orbit of his body. These are the central vessel that feeds the brain and the governing vessel that feeds the brain. And then from there, he can begin to focus that energy that he's been cultivating and building into his hands. We do something called the chi ball. So he begins to take the hands and focus them, and we beyond the skin and the bones and the muscles that make up our physical body, we have a field of electromagnetic energy. So as he begins to cross the fingertips, it enhances that field of electromagnetic energy, and the hands develop this quality we call the big mitt. And so the big mitt is that your hands begin to feel and extend like a baseball mitt beyond the skin. And from that, he's able to make contact with his big mitt on the physical body, and it becomes much more than simply touch. It becomes a powerful presence. So I'm going to have him demonstrate that on me. So as he makes contact, I feel that flow of energy, and it begins to interface with the muscles as well as the energy flows within my body. And then from there, we move into the simple Swedish strokes. So he's going to demonstrate now an effleurage stroke, which is a slow, gliding, flowing motion. So our effleurage stroke is more than just a Swedish stroke. It now becomes a healing, qi-filled infusion through my tissue layers of this qi. So it's impacting the bones, the muscles, the blood, the nerves. Everything is being massaged. Even though he's just touching the surface, it's penetrating. It's much more than skin deep.
Fantastic. And clearly, this, as you know, you're watching it, and those of you who've had massages, and after a certain age, I think, is there anyone who hasn't had many, many massages? And this is different. You can see that this is a paradigm shift from what we would call massage to what you are not only offering when people come to receive massages, but what you are training people to provide. It's just extraordinary.
Thank you.
Now, you obviously know that I spoke to each of them, and they, raved and they glow. And how did you begin to notice that your students were having these transformative experiences?
Well, every class, we do these energy exercises, and then we check in, and students share what's alive in them. And the feedback that we receive from our students has been remarkable. Students share how their lives are changing. Their direct experience, their health and happiness quotient increases, their ability to focus, their ability to handle challenges, those all increase. They start making radical lifestyle changes, like they announce, I'm quitting smoking, or I've lost 10 pounds and I've just stopped eating, a Jack in the Box and fast food, and I'm starting to bring sprouts to work, and everybody else is interested and want to try out the sprouts or whatever. They just start making these changes. And it's not from a place of judgment or should, and the imposition of the mind. It's from a place of the body feels different. The body's operating at a higher frequency, and it no longer has the desire for some of the choices that we made previously. It's attracted to new choices. So we're listening, we're attuning to the body. Throughout the practice, we're infusing our attention through our body, and our body starts to talk to us. It has an inherent deep wisdom that's beyond the conscious mind. The body has an innate knowing and wisdom, and it taps us, it tunes us into this portal that we call the still small voice within. That is part of our guidance system. It's an internal compass.
Thank you. And would you say that the shifts in the different students and graduates are similar, that most people experience that, or some people have completely different experiences? I'm just wondering, because you've been doing this for so long, you've had so many students and graduates.
Well, we have belief structures, and so everyone comes to the Institute with different experiences, different belief structures. I really try to not rub up against the belief structures. Instead, I just say, try it out for yourself. This is a research project, right? Yeah. Come and experience the practices, have your own direct experience. Don't take my word for it. And so we do the practices together, and people start experiencing that they love giving and receiving a massage. This is a remarkable part about it, is that massage becomes something that's just as pleasurable to give as to receive. So it becomes this positive feedback loop. You feel better, and so you want more of it, and you want to get better because you want to get you want to receive that positive feedback from your clients. And so people are naturally motivated to excel and improve at the work. And then how that translates is that they start feeling happier. Many of them will choose to go on and form a career out of it, such as Angie. And when you start investing a large part of your day. As we all know, when we go to work, that's a large part of our day. When we're able to invest that into contributing to another and into this wonderful job description that involves filling ourselves with qi and moving in this flowing kind of way, it just alters our experience.
Yes, it's really thrilling because, as you know, we've been friends, and I work with clients usually all day long and sometimes in the evening, and I always leave 15 minutes in between. And the 15 minutes that I leave in between includes time to reconnect to source energy, bring myself back to the present, become mindful again if I wasn't as mindful in a few minutes before, you know. So it's really thrilling to see that the Institute is teaching all this. It's like from the first moment someone is learning about body work, they're learning about their own body.
Right.
It's really fantastic. So I can't wait to hear. Now, how long has it been since you were studying? How long have you been out in the real world?
It has been a couple of years. I have just recently started my job at the Salt Caves, which I love. It's a beautiful atmosphere, and it's a gift coming into work every day. I look forward to it. We work with Himalayan salt, so we do salt scrub treatments, which incorporate Swedish and deep tissue. We offer lymphatic massage, and it is just growing. So it's a beautiful place to work and to be able to apply myself and my knowledge, which I learned from BTI. So it's quite a gift.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm just so excited to know that, you know, I actually know somebody who works at SALT. That's so great.
Yeah.
So tell me, now you are a student still, and what is the number one benefit you are experiencing already, Bruno?
Well, the number one benefit that I have been experiencing at Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, it's a strong and deep holistic approach to self-healing. And I already had a practice of self-healing. Before I came to BTI, I was practicing yoga and Reiki and mindfulness. But at the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, it has become so much broader and wider, a range of techniques. I have techniques for healing my physical body, my emotional body, my mental body, my spiritual body. And within those aspects, so many tools, so many techniques that I can use. And the most beautiful part of it is that as I learn to take care of me, I'm learning how to take care of others. And as I'm learning to take care of others, I'm learning how to take care of myself. And that's the beauty of being at the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, that it's very holistic, and it's for the betterment of humankind, and I just love it so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you. And I would say he looks like the poster boy for holistic health, doesn't he? You know, if you talk about an aura, even if you're not someone who normally can see auras, I defy you not to see his. So that's really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reminding us, you know, what health and youth and joy and bliss, that's, I always say it's our human birthright, except that one doesn't get to see it walking around very much. So this is really thrilling. Yeah, thank you, both of you. It's so inspiring. Now, let's see. So you have a clinic that's open to the public where your different students are able to give massages, right? So tell us about that, and tell us all about that, because I've never been there. I don't know anything about it.
Well, our student clinic operates 6 days a week. We have afternoon clinics and evening clinics, Monday through Saturday and Monday through Thursday evening. And it's affordable body work. Our students are completing their training. Many are quite outstanding. We have advanced clinics where you might receive from a professional who's working at the Bacara or one of our elite spas in town, and they're coming back to deepen their training. So you have the opportunity to receive from some extraordinary body workers, and and receive at a really affordable rate. $30 is our 1 hour rate, and occasionally we have specials. And so if you get on our website and apply for our newsletter or like us on Facebook, you'll learn about our specials, and those are $25.
Fantastic, thank you. And I know that you could go, you could talk about this for, 10 years, right? But can you give us maybe, without stopping, right? Without stopping or sleeping, because she's in the zone. So would you give us like 1 or 2 examples of some of the health benefits that clients have experienced, just from the modalities that they received from you? They had and I know you could talk about this for forever. Just
Right.
pick a few.
So in our clinic, people come, we have many people who come every week. And so we have a stack of papers very thick on them because they're real regulars. And they come for the restoration qualities that they receive from the massage. Our most common massage is the Swedish massage, and then we have the different advanced modalities. So our regular clients, they get a lot of Swedish, and then they have their specialties that they like to come to. So one client comes to mind who came for the restorative and for the pain relief aspects of the massage. His name is Richard. He's been coming for 13 years on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. He incurred an injury in his back and had a spinal fusion. So his L4, 5, and S1 are fused. And in the process of the surgery, there was a cut on the spinal cord, so he has some paralysis now, and he has constant pain. And so one of his key strategies for managing the constant pain is to come receive massage. It's extremely helpful for him, and he's very dedicated and committed to coming. Now we have a second type of client who comes and they have a condition, and for whatever reason they are open for a really dramatic result, a really dramatic shift and change where things are completely different from before the massage to after.
Like as in unrecognizable.
Right, as an unrecognizable.
So transformation.
Vanessa comes to mind. She was at the in my class last night, and she shared the story of what happened to her in the clinic. This was several years ago. And I was supervising the clinic. She was receiving a shiatsu massage from one of our students. And I checked in with her how she was doing. And she said, I'm fine, except this bone spur on my heel is really bothering me today. And one of the skills and capacities that we teach at the Institute is to open to inquiry and to open to the possibility of a healing, of a miracle occurring. So I simply asked her the question, what generative energy, space, or consciousness can we be for this to shift and change? And she liked the question. She started, repeating the question. We shared it together. We had this lovely exchange. And she completed the session. When she got into her car, she experienced this heat, this rod of heat right through the place in her heel where she had the bone spur. And it moved from her heel on up through her leg, and then it turned from very hot and fiery to cold. And then she had the experience of the spur dissolving and her heel making contact with the floor of her car for the very first time since she can remember. And the spur has never come back.
That is thrilling. Just thrilling. Thank you. How exciting. I mean, how exciting for you, for her, for everyone that was there. That's just so wonderful. I'm just so happy that we were able to hear this. It's quite exciting. Wow. And I know, Angelina, that you had an emotional transformation through learning massage. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Prior to coming to BTI, I was living more of an unhealthy lifestyle and acting out of emotional pain and just different habits that were not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. And so I was open-minded to learning how to do things differently and how to be accepting of love and of healing. And so at BTI, I was just taken in with such love and acceptance, and I did the 550 program. So I learned Swedish, deep tissue, reflexology, I did energy work, and by receiving all of that, I was able to let go of a lot of the things that were keeping me down and keeping me in bondage. And so it was really powerful, very powerful. And I feel like that opened me up to a new way of living, which I feel more healthy now. I'm able to, help others experience that same healing that I received, and it's quite a gift. So
Thank you. That's just so wonderful.
Yeah.
And on the 550 hours, how long did that take, more or less?
It took me about a year, maybe 2 years.
Took your time, yeah. So
Yeah, it took my time.
over a period of, it actually makes a better, experience
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you had this 1.5 to 2 year period
Yeah.
during which you were able to have so much support
Yeah.
and transformation. That's
Exactly.
great, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Katie, that you have so many clients who've given you feedback and testimonials that are just spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Could you share a couple of those with us as well?
Well, two of my instructors come to mind. There is something that I have noticed within body workers is that those who come with something that they're really grappling with and something that is deeply challenging them, and that when they learn to transform that, they have a power and a fire that is quite powerful and a gift to share with the general community. So Eric Hudson comes to mind. He came to us with a 25-year background as a psych nurse, and he was burnt out, and he had stenosis of the spine, a degenerative condition. He had constant back pain, and the diagnosis was a recommendation of surgery. And he came and studied, and he met John Harris, one of our senior instructors, and John proposed to him that the pain was not necessarily the caused by what the x-rays were showing him about his spine, that there's a very different common source of pain, and that is in the myofascia. And that through receiving trigger point therapy, we can release these hyperirritable nodules in the fascia that are the source of most myofascial pain syndromes. So Eric received this trigger point work, and lo and behold, he was pain-free after receiving it. He no longer had the need for surgery. He left his career as a nurse and developed a booming bodywork practice. He's now extremely successful, and he teaches our trigger point therapy, our Tuina, and our myofascial release. We're very grateful for him.
Tell us more, because this is new to me. So you have a program specifically focusing on myofascia?
Yes.
Okay. Could you describe that to everyone, please? Because if I don't know anything about it, I'm sure there's somebody else who doesn't.
Okay, so the muscles and the bones and the nerves, all the different parts of the body, they're all wrapped with a very special tissue layer called fascia. All right, it's connective tissue, it's fascia, and it binds everything into place, and it gives it a shape. So the muscles, all the fibers of the muscles, are bound with this myofascia. And what can happen is that myofascia can lose its juiciness, so to speak, its ability to move the muscle into different shapes. If I hold this posture for very long, I'm contracting muscles to do it, and at a certain point the body says, I know what you want to do, I'll do that, I'll make it easier for you and to conserve the energy that's involved in that contraction, and it shortens the fascia. So that when I want to do this, I no longer have that option because this fascia has become shorter, this muscle has become shorter. Now what can happen is that we can develop these hyperirritable nodules, we call them trigger points, and they can cause referral pain patterns. And so with the body work, what we do is we melt those trigger points, and we melt the fascia, and the fascia changes in consistency so that it can elongate, it becomes more filled with fluid, so that it can return, the muscle can return back to its normal resting tonus and length.
This is extraordinary. Thank you. And what are some of the, I'm assuming, because you seem to know pretty much anything I could ask, we'll get an answer, so no worries. I don't normally do this to guests, but this is so interesting. And I know that with Katie, it's a safe bet. So are there a number of diagnostic terms that doctors use for diseases that really it's about the myofascia? And if so, would you be willing to give just a list of some of those?
Well, that's an interesting question because it's considered outside of our scope of practice.
But people come to you.
People come to you
telling you that the doctor said they have. I'm just wondering if
you
could just, patients or clients who come to you who come with whatever these now names are. Not that you're a doctor, you certainly aren't, you're not diagnosing, but their doctors have told them that it looks as if they have that, and some of them have had really beneficial experiences from this trigger point.
Right.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
Right. So, I mean, we can have curvature of the spine, and so that's called scoliosis. We can have fibromyalgia. This is this overall pain in the body, particularly in the muscles, and inflammation. And trigger point can be extremely helpful for that. We can have subluxation or hernias that where the bones are being pulled out of place. The muscles can get tight, and they can pull the bones out of place. So if we release the myofascia, then the bones have more freedom and ease to move back into their proper placement. We can have that in the cervical spine as well, that will cause pain in the neck. There's thoracic inlet syndrome. You can cause the tingling and the numbness down through the arms and all. If we release the myofascia here in the thoracic, that's causing a compression here on the nerves that flow down to feed the fingers, and we can release that. The carpal tunnel syndrome, we can release trigger points in the forearms, and that can free up the tunnel carpal syndrome. Many instances where one would think surgery was required can be alleviated through myofascial work.
Thank you so much. This is great. I had a feeling that one of the things you mentioned was going to be on the list, and I have a very dear friend whose partner has been suffering with it for a long, long time, and I think you better come to Santa Barbara. I think that's the solution because they live far away. But I think you better hop on a plane. Okay, and you know who I'm talking to. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Now, tell us, you also have short courses that allow people to come for a weekend or whatever the period of time is, and by the time they leave, they're able to know some technique that they can utilize.
Right.
Tell us about that.
We have a number of short courses. They're 20 hours in length. We can do that in a weekend or in 5 evenings. We have acupressure, we have reflexology, we have this thing called access energy, we have emotional process. I'd like to talk about reflexology. It's one of my favorites, and it's actually the first bodywork modality that I ever learned. And so in reflexology, we have the premise that the whole body is reflexed on the hands or the feet, and that we can affect change in the whole body by simply applying pressure to the hands and the feet. So it's very user-friendly, because I can reach across and ask for somebody to give me their hand, and I can be treating all manner of conditions. And it's very usable in daily life. Like
I'm so sorry that I'm too far. There you go.
So I've visited my parents in the emergency room and helped my dad get out of pain so he didn't need morphine. I've helped a friend who was passing kidney stones get out of pain so that she her vital signs, we could actually see the vital signs, and how they moved and fluctuated and they stabilized, and she was able to be released and go home. I've used it at my son's basketball game.
Oh, that's what I wanted to hear. Yes.
And so I was sitting next to the wife of the opposing team's coach, and she was actually rooting for my son's basketball team, and I thought this was the oddest thing. So I asked her what was up. Why was she rooting for Gabe's team? And she said, "Well, I have such bad morning sickness that all I want to do is to go home." And so I told her I was a body worker, and that if she didn't mind, or if she was interested, I might be able to help. So what I did, she agreed, and what I did was I worked these diaphragm points that I demonstrated earlier, got her to open up her breathing, like so. And then I worked an acupressure point right here, which is 2.5 inches above the wrist crease, right here. It's called the inner gate. And it is opening the sac that surrounds the heart called the pericardium. And that has a meridian that when it moves and opens, allows the energy of the stomach to actually move downwards. So when we have nausea, the energy of the stomach's moving upwards, and we want it to move down. Yeah, we want it to move down. So that's the way digestion goes. Is things move from the mouth to the stomach to the small intestine to the large intestine.
Well,
that's the natural flow.
Nausea, I get it. Oh my goodness, I never saw it that way. Very interesting. Very
And
interesting.
so anyway, within a few minutes of working on this, this coach's wife, she was smiling and relaxed and enjoying the game and asking me for my business card. But this was San Diego, so anyway, it was.
Fabulous.
It's a really fun tool. I use it all the time.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you. And it occurs to me, is that something we can do ourselves? It would seem.
Yes,
On
yes.
your hands,
Oh,
on your
absolutely. You
feet.
can work on your own hands. You can work on your own feet. It's
Is there
very
something you want
user-friendly.
to teach people to do on their own hands since the topic came up?
Yeah, so here's your diaphragm line right here, okay? And so you can take your thumb and you can press it all along that line here. And
Maybe you want to put your hand up like that.
Like so,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
and then these are your spinal reflexes. You can take your 4 fingers and you can press all along the spinal reflex like so. And then the cool thing is this is your brain reflex. So the cool thing about being a reflexologist is that we work with our thumbs a lot, which are our own brain reflexes. So it helps us become smarter and focused if we're having a hard time focusing
So,
with our
but when
mind.
your thumb gets tired, your brain doesn't get tired?
Right. You're waking up your brain. And if you
Reactivate.
want to relax your brain, then you shift how you do it. You do it in a more slow kind of fashion. Right? If you want to stimulate, if you want to wake up like coffee, then you do it fast and quick. So the different ways to approach it gives different kind of stimulation to the brain.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's really fascinating and obviously very, very powerful and helpful. Thank you. Now, Angelina, I know you have a favorite modality, and I had never heard of this. Now, those of you who've been watching me on TV in Santa Barbara for 9 years, do you often hear me say that I don't know about things? No, you don't. It's unusual. So, and I actually studied shiatsu 100 years ago, and I've had 12 million massages. So this is fascinating to me that you have an institute dedicated to body work, and I, who have spent more money than any 3 people would normally spend on body work when I was ill all those decades, I've never heard of some of the things you do. It's fabulous. So, okay, tell us about your favorite.
Yeah, my favorite is Access Energy, which I took a shorter course. And Katie is going to go ahead and demonstrate on Bruno. So Access Energy is holding different points in the head, and those points are helping to move energy through the body, helping to release different things like trauma or something we may be holding on to, different habits. I came in with an open mind to Access Energy. It's a very relaxing modality, so I fell asleep while I was receiving that. And when I awoke, I felt just brand new, very refreshed, and I felt like I was looking at life with a new pair of eyes, just open, and just accepting of more positivity and able to let go of all the old things that were holding me back.
That's unbelievable.
So it was very
That's
powerful.
Spectacular.
Yeah, very powerful.
Wow. And so how many times would you say that you received this Access Energy during the time you were taking the
That
course?
weekend, I received it about 3 times, and I want to say maybe the 3rd time is when I really noticed a shift in my in my mental clarity and in the way that I was seeing things. So,
But that's nothing.
yeah,
I mean, I
it's
honestly, when
powerful.
I asked the question, I really expected,
Yeah.
you know, though I didn't know how you were going to have time in a weekend,
Right.
but I thought that the number was going to be double digits.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
really an amazingly powerful modality.
It
And there are
is.
amazing students in the class. Gabriel Mann, the student who gave her that session, he went on to be a massage therapist on the U.S. Olympic team.
Yeah.
In the medical team.
Incredible body
Yeah.
worker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very extraordinary man.
And so
Yeah.
was he one of the people who gave you
He
the
did.
access energy?
I think twice.
Fantastic.
And so he
Fabulous.
really was in tune with what he was doing. So that was
Fabulous.
amazing. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. So you feel even better now. The only, you know, the only question is, why are you not yet levitating? And he might be. He might be actually floating above his seat. We can't see the tables in the way. So tell us, I know that, you know, you just love the Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute, obviously.
I do, yeah.
Tell us, you know, just your favorite thing about it, or the favorite aspects, or the greatest benefits, you know, that you really love.
Oof, there's so much, so much. I really like that the whole institute is very supportive, all the way from Katie and the classes that she teaches, and inside the classroom, outside the classroom. She's very supportive, guiding me through the process. The students, my students are just great. They're, you know, willing to receive, willing to give, open to share. And the instructors are great. Some really, really neat instructors. Some of my favorite are Matthew Jones. He teaches medical qigong, which is incredible techniques and approaches to healing the body holistically. And Nell Craig, she teaches acupressure, and also another great instructor. And they have been so willing to answer all my questions. I have, you know, a million questions. You tell me one thing, I'll ask you 100. So that's the way that I learn, and it has been a perfect place for me because everybody has been answering me, and it's just beautiful. I feel very supported there. The classes are very, very, very interesting.
Thank you so much. And before I ask you another question, what is different about medical qigong versus what many of us have heard of or practiced before in regular qigong?
Well, medical qigong is to apply it to the body, to different, we call them medical conditions. So, so qigong is the practice of self-cultivation of energy. So you do it for yourself to enhance your energy flow. When you become a medical qigong practitioner, then you take this enhanced energy that you've been cultivating, and then you apply it to a deep understanding of how the body, the flows and feels within the body. In particular, there's a focus on the vital organs, and it works with the metaphor of the 5 elements and the 5 phases and how that energy is moving through the body. And so it's focused on strengthening and enlivening and clearing off, purging when there's excess. And
Got you. Rather than just longer life. Because we hear about qigong as a practice that people really enjoy. It's been proven that it enhances lifespan and health. Oh, so this is specific to different aspects of the body.
Absolutely. So it's treating. You're learning eventually to treat an assortment of pathologies.
Fantastic.
And yes, medical qigong practitioners, one of the benefits is that they do have an enhanced life, you know, and vitality for sure. It's essential.
It's fantastic. Thank you. I honestly, this is, again, we should be keeping a scorecard. Something else completely new. Okay, wow. So tell me, Bruno, what are your favorite parts of the curriculum? What do you love the most?
Oh, there's so much.
But
so much.
just to give us, okay,
I'll give you a
2 or 3.
summary.
We have some time, so you can take your time. Describe it.
Well, every class starts with some self-healing, and it can be anything from doing some qigong movements to rolling on foam rollers, and we have time to do that. So we know we don't have to come and sit down and listen, but we come and we practice, and we get into our bodies, and we practice what we later are going to be doing to other people as well. And after that, we have lecture. Actually, before lecture, we tend to have a circle where we check in with each other, and that's great because you get to see where everybody else is, because we spend sometimes 5 hours, sometimes even 9 hours in class, and it's great to just relate to people next to you. And then we go into lectures, which are just very interesting, just fascinating information. And then after that, we get an exchange where I will give a massage to a student or a medical qigong session, and then I'll receive one. And that's great practice right after you get all the information. And then after we're done with the courses, be that Swedish massage or emotional processing skills or acupressures, we get to do these clinics where we bring in people that we don't know and we practice on them. And it's just great to get different bodies, different approaches, deal with different personalities. And the people that come to the clinics are also very supportive. And it's just very, very nice. Just very nice approach to learning. I'm very grateful for being in this institute. It's really changing my life for the better. Absolutely.
I can
see
even though I've never met you before. This is, there's the before photo and the after photo. This is the after photo that any one of us would wish to have, right? That's fantastic. But what's your favorite of all the things? What's your totally favorite? I mean, is it Swedish or shiatsu or reflexology? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite is definitely medical qigong, because we're learning philosophy and all the way from a basic understanding, basic spiritual understanding of nature, of our beings, of the energies that flow through us, and how we relate to different elements, different forms in the universe, right here, right now, and how to relate to that. And I learned how to cultivate energy within me, how to get my body, my mind, my emotions more balanced, and then I can apply that physically or without even touching somebody. I can work on somebody to move the same energy, the same healing qualities. And I have learned yoga, for example, which I get to practice for myself and I get to teach to other people in a classroom. But medical qigong, it's a one-on-one application where I can give my energy to somebody and I can activate the energy of that person as well. And I find it very, very powerful. It's just incredible, and I'm so excited. We have a 200-hour program that's only medical qigong.
Wow,
and
that's
I'm enrolled in that.
Intensive.
And we also have a 500 and even 1,000 hours, which has a lot of applications. I mean, it's very, very, very powerful. So if anyone is thinking about it, I strongly recommend, and I'll be happy to have you in class.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. So I know that you've told us a little bit about how people pace themselves when they become professionals, as Angelina is and as you've been for so long. Maybe you want to walk us through that, because there are massage therapists all over the world who at some point may watch this show who have exhaustion. They feel burnt out and may believe that that's the way it is for everybody. And one of the things that I knew about you when I first met you, a long time ago, is the vitality that you have, the joy that you have, the presence you have. It's very unusual. And I want you to be able to explain to people who are already massage therapists what's possible for them. And of course, if they can get themselves to Santa Barbara Body Therapy Institute and take a class, that's the best solution. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a great question.
Which I just added and threw at her.
So it requires working on yourself on multiple levels. Many of us as body workers come to the field because we want to make a difference and we want to please and we want to help. And we can have that quality in excess to our detriment. And so it's very important, to the degree that we extend and we reach out to help others, that we're giving that back to ourselves first and foremost, because our ability to help others will, we have physical limits to that, and we need to honor that. So this is our personal process work, where we really need to keep bringing the attention back to ourselves and be mindful of what are the sensations, what are the messages our bodies are giving us. So we teach these body mechanics tools through the qigong, where we're learning this excellent body mechanics. And we're also exposing therapists to many different styles of body work. So one of the challenges is if you some of the styles can be physically demanding, and so if you have more than one style that you're working with, then you don't get into repetitive motion syndrome because you have different tools in your tool bag. You can work in different ways with different bodies. If you have a large body, you're going to need to change the tools that you use with on them to be effective on that body, but also to be careful, to be mindful for yourself. And so we really teach therapists to work smart, not hard. Yes. There's an efficiency to how we work. And we've introduced something called the Wonder Weights into the classroom, which are used by sports teams, professional teams. They're used also for healing from stroke victims who have nerve damage. And it actually helps with rewiring in the brain, but it helps with strengthening the tendons and ligaments so that it can resolve inflammation issues within the wrist and the shoulders and the hands, or prevent them.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're called Wonder Weights.
Wonder Weights, these little weights that we swing, and
cool.
With just a few minutes a day of attention, it can help you build stronger, more durable
A few minutes a day? She's singing my song. We'll talk.
And then Sonia, one of my core instructors, she teaches the foundation work that Bruno's been talking about, that he also has a background in, so that we get strong. We're developing the body of an athlete when we're a body worker. We really want to approach it with that kind of dedication and commitment. And so, we recognize that our bodies need care. We need to receive body work. Receiving body work is extremely important. I would like to speak about Sonia just briefly because
Please.
She comes to us as an injured athlete. So she was a competitive athlete. She, at one point, had an injury that looked like she was going to have to give up her career in cycling. She instead came to the Institute, received massage from John Harris, again, this our wonderful trigger point instructor, and he did cross fiber friction as well. He got her back on the bike, and she joined another relay team, and she rode with her relay team coast to coast in 7 days in the race across America. And they won national championship 2 years in a row.
Wow.
And so she went from an injured body worker to a healed body worker who had the freedom with her lifestyle, because massage, really, if you do it well, you can have much more time to devote to the things that you love. And you have the time to help your body heal. And on her race across America, what she did was bring body workers, so that in between, while she was, in between, as they were caravanning along, she was getting body work to recharge her body. And so it requires just understanding how your body works, being mindful of it, giving it the nourishment and the therapy that it needs.
Beautiful. Thank you so
To stay
much. That's
healthy and well.
so inspiring. Now, we just have a few minutes, so tell us some of the, 30 modalities that are offered at the Institute? Is that around the right number? Okay. So, we have maybe a minute and a half for that. As many as you can think of the top of your head.
Okay, well, I'll talk about the programs. We have the practitioner program. That's the minimum bar. It's 250 hours that allows you to practice here in the state of California. So our program includes Swedish massage, and you get to pick 2 other short modalities in addition, and ethics. And so among the short modalities that you can choose from are reflexology, acupressure, Tuina, myofascial, we have spa deep tissue, we have manual lymphatic drainage and visceral lymphatic drainage.
What's the difference?
Well, the visceral is where the deep lymph are. The large intestine and small intestine are surrounded with lymph nodes. And this is where the large intestine's job is to absorb out the water and the electrolytes. It goes into the interstitial layer and then into the lymph, and it gets cleansed in the nodes.
Wow.
So this is the deep nodes, and we want to clean out the deep nodes. And the manual lymphatic drainage is working with the peripheral nodes, the nodes and the lymph vessels that are on the surface. And so this is the body's cleansing system. We have many different filters. The lymph is a primary one that keeps our immune system strong.
And I know I've I've had so many lymph massages over the years, and I never heard those two terms. I had a Swedish system and then a Chinese system, but I never heard those terms. That's why I'm asking. And I'm assuming, again, that other people will wonder, what the difference is. I interrupted you, so please continue.
We offer shiatsu, and we offer emotional process skills. We have access energy, as Angela's referring to, and what am I missing? Touch for Health, that's another modality.
What is Touch for Health?
Touch for Health is where you're assessing the organ energy strength through the muscles. The muscles are reservoirs of energy for the vital organs. And so the muscles help to feed energy to the organs. The large intestine's job is essential. The heart's job is essential. These muscles provide backup reservoirs. And so through testing the strength of a muscle, we can see what circuits are deficient, are weak, and we can, there's certain switches, so to speak, that we can manipulate in the tissues. Mm-hmm. There's neurolymphatic, there's neurovascular, and we turn that energy back onto the organs and back onto the muscles.
Wow. Very, very interesting. Very interesting, and again, new to so many of the people who are watching and new to me.
So two more modalities that come to mind are Tuina. Tuina is a Chinese form of massage that's working with the joints and the meridians. And we also have craniosacral. That's working
you do?
With, yeah.
Oh my goodness, okay. And just really briefly, what will they find on your website? I think your website address has been coming up on the screen while we've been speaking. What will they find there?
They'll find lots of information. They'll learn about when our classes are offered. We have a detailed description of what the modalities, each modality is, the benefits, the types of techniques. You'll learn about when the clinics are. And we have a free video. I show how to give a little neck massage, shoulder massage. And there's other videos from instructors informing about their particular modality that they teach. We have testimonials from our graduates. We also have even employment opportunities listing where employers share their opportunities.
Thank you so much. And I thank all three of you from the bottom of my heart for being here and providing so much energy, joy, inspiration, and information, but in that order. And it's just been fantastic. And of course, I'm really excited to have each and every one of you go to their website, find out whether you want to receive any one or all of these massage modalities, whether you're interested in a new career, maybe you're interested in your first career. So in that case, you definitely want to speak to Katie. And obviously she has all the information that you could ever want about a career in any of these aspects of massage. And what she's shown you and her graduate Angelina and her student Bruno have shown, and what she's shown to me, is it all begins with connecting yourself to the energy field. Whether you call it God, whether you have a religious name for it, whether you call it all that is, divine light. You've watched my shows. We have guests who use all different terms. It's about connecting yourself to the energy grid so that you then are fully functioning, fully enjoying health, having your health transformed if you're not already there, and then being able to share yourself, whatever aspect of yourself, whatever gift you have, with the rest of us in the world. And you see these three people who have this extraordinary gift of healing and energy. And I just want to thank our crew today. I can't tell you, Mark and Ryan and Tyler and JP, what you did today has been astounding. And I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. The most amazing team, including today when we really needed the most amazing team. So thank you, and please watch us next month.